Hello, beautiful children of God. Thank you so much for dropping by this video. So, I used the G word. You know, there's so many different ideas about what that word means, and so many just horrific definitions of what is God that I'm comfortable using the word, um, you know, but I sometimes feel so uncomfortable speaking it, which is a shame because there's just so many really awful, awful definitions of what God is. And so the place I've come to is that it's okay for each one of us to define what is our conception of God or a higher power. And, you know, a really beautiful example of this is, um, the spirit of the universe or the creative intelligence that created, orders, and operates all things. We don't have to buy into um, any specific religious or spiritual dogma. And I thought I did for a long time. And because basically, in the church I was raised in, it was like, believe what we're saying or you're going to spend an eternity in hell. So that doesn't really encourage free thinking. The thing is, though, and so I rejected all ideas of God and God itself for quite some time. But the thing is, to do that is to cut ourselves off from a limitless source of power and love and guidance, and to cut ourselves off from the source of being. And what I've come to realize is that life without God is not actually living. Because I've done both. I've lived with and without a relationship. I hesitate to use that word because there's many connotations. A relationship with a higher power. And it's night and day. And now having a very strong connection and a sense of relating, being in connection with a higher power, I can honestly say I wasn't really alive beforehand. And that's a very strong statement. I was obviously biologically alive, but the thing is, when I was studying different religions, at a certain point, I started studying Eastern religions and I came across Taoism. And I said, whoa, this idea of an all pervasive, loving, guiding, harmonizing energy that's available to guide us. It's like, whoa, I can believe in that. I want to. But that was almost 20 years ago, and it's taken me almost 25 years to unwind all the nonsense I was taught, to really cultivate a relationship with the Tao. That's just one word I use among many. And now that I have a very strong connection and relationship to it, I don't want to be dogmatic, but life without it just isn't really life. I'm by no means a perfect saint. Anyone who knows you will tell you that. And, I'm cultivating a moment by moment relationship with this all pervasive energy field, which guides me, inspires me, uplifts me, literally arranges synchronicities to happen, is able to work miracles. I've had multiple spontaneous healings happen and even been able to be a conduit for some of that to others. Just in random moments of the day, I just feel myself being showered down with love. But maybe the most important thing is I feel whole. I'm not seeking things in the world the way I used to. It's like I do all sorts of things, but I'm approaching it now from a place of wholeness. Like I feel like honestly, all I need is connection with the Tao. Like if I'm homeless, but I have that, I have everything I need. I'll be guided, I'll be supported, everything will work out. Might not work out the way I want it to, but if anyone's noticed, life doesn't tend to work out exactly the way we want to. Um, and so, I'm not grabby after relationship. I'm not grabby after different types of pleasure, which I love pleasure, nothing wrong with pleasure. But in the past, I was coming from this place of incompleteness. And hence, in this trying to fill myself up, it was like, when's the next dance? When's the next spiritual event? When's the next, when's the next hangout with my friend? When's the next date? When's the next awesome meal? From this place of like, I need. And now it's like, just kind of living my life and, doing all those things, but just without the intensity and actually just really focusing my life around connection with the Tao, being guided. And now life itself is an adventure. Like going to the grocery store is like, because synchronicities just happen left and right. And also because now I'm focused on giving, on service. So it's like before it was like, what can I get? What can I get? What can I get? And now it's like, what can I give? It's a really different orientation towards life. And it's a really good one. So a lot of these shifts have happened for me through working and living the original version of the 12 steps, which have next to nothing to do with what you might think the 12 steps are, what's presented nowadays. In the old days, it was the 12 steps were do these things and have a profound spiritual awakening and a profound transformation. And nowadays it's like, go to meetings, get a sponsor, read a lot of literature, go to a meeting every day. Just like this weird kind of, I don't know. In the old day, it was like, rely on a higher power. And now it's like, rely on the group or rely on your sponsor, or rely on all these self-help tools. And in the old days, it was like, rely on the spirit of the universe and have an awesome life. And the success rates are so low today. As I've read estimates that it's 3%, 5%, 7%. Like what's being taught today in the 12 steps just doesn't work. And it's, yeah. So if you want to know more about the original, actually, I'm going to read a little bit. And I have a YouTube channel dedicated to the original 12 steps. But here's what it was in the old days. Much has been already said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from him, I would say from the one who has all knowledge and power. If we have carefully followed directions, meaning work the actual 12 steps, we have begun to sense the flow of his spirit into us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. We have begun to develop the vital sixth sense. It used to be about creating this, becoming spiritually awake, God conscious, and being guided by it and doing service. End of story. It's basically about becoming a Jedi. So thank you so much for dropping by this video. I'll post a link to my YouTube channel about the original 12 steps, and I'm happy to talk with anyone about how to have a spiritual awakening and to feel complete. And that's not to say I feel complete in every moment. I'm still a work in progress, but that's becoming my baseline, is feeling complete and whole. And how to have a life guided by intuition. It's really the only way to live. That other way, it's just not living. It's living by basically a false self. It's not fun. Thank you so much for joining in. Much love.